Hello, my friend, and welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and I am Heather, and I am super excited that you are here. And I just want to let you know that you're going to hear some tips and some tricks, some ideas, all to help you live your happiest and healthiest life. It is called Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, then you can take better care of others. And my goal is to make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way. I am really happy that you're here. Your true self is waiting. So it is time to step up and thrive. Whoa. Hello, my friends. I just whacked my computer. Hello. It's time to wake up. Yay. Welcome to the Back to Me podcast, where crazy things happen on a regular basis. And I don't know if all my guests, all my listeners know this, but I batch record. So I record a whole bunch in a row, and it's Valentine's Day. And I said, just saying, Danie, welcome. Welcome, Danie.
Hi.
I was just saying it's Metaphysical Day. I'm talking to all the metaphysical people today, and crazy things are happening.
I love it.
Yes.
Spirit is with us.
Spirit is with us. And you have a lot of, I couldn't even fit all your words in. For people watching the video, like all those words, see how big the graphic is. I had to make it smaller. Spiritual counselor, intuitive astrologer, Akashic records practitioner. Those are all really awesome. Those are awesome yous right now, right?
They are.
But before this was the awesome you, there was another version of the awesome you. And when I went and peeked, it was like, you were on American Idol and The Voice, and you worked with Walt Disney and Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor, that's pretty epic. So
it was.
How did you go from American Idol to intuitive astrologer? Those don't really line up in the regular way of thinking.
Ooh, this is true. This is true. So I will say that first off, like I love singing. I've been singing since I was I don't know, probably when I came out of the womb. My parents said the first like real instinct that they had that I was a singer was when I did a little part in kindergarten in I was yay tall.
Right.
I'm only 5'1", so I'm very small. And at that time I was even smaller, but I was sitting there and I like belted out this part of like a Christmas song. And my parents were like, there's something there. And so it just music. I love music. My mom listened to Michael Jackson and the Beatles quite a bit. She was a big fan of MJ and the Beatles. And so I grew up around music a lot. We always had music playing and I was always singing or dancing or doing something. And so it's always been part of my life. And I started to explore it in high school and then even more so in as I went into college, and I just loved singing. And so when American Idol came out, I happened to be in college at the time. And I loved the first season. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is the thing for me. And I'm going to go. And I went with a friend of mine. At the time I was singing in church as a cantor in the Catholic Church. So there was a lot of, music was really, really had already been important. And now here I was really utilizing that. And so I auditioned and I didn't get to make it on air. So I did go through, it's a lot. Like if you've ever been on, I don't know if people don't know this, but you don't just go and then all of a sudden you're in front of the judges. There are about 6 different pre-judges,
Wow.
that are like casting directors and, executive producers that you have to go through to even get to be in front of the actual judges. And we're talking like old school. We're like, this was season 2. So we're talking like, the original American Idol judges.
Right. I guess that makes sense. Otherwise they'd be inundated. Like the show wouldn't they wouldn't even be able to fit it into a season.
No, no, it takes a lot. And then they go to all these different cities and there's
Mhm.
thousands upon thousands. Like I remember where I went. So I auditioned twice for American Idol and then The Voice. And like, we're talking stadiums. Like I was in San Diego in California in one of the baseball stadiums. I can't even remember what it was, but like one of the baseball stadiums, and it was filled with people like auditioning. So you can only imagine like how many people they have to go through. So yeah,
That'd be
it took.
exhausting.
Yes, I will agree with that. But that was, The Voice was very similar. It was also I auditioned in LA a couple years later, very very first seasons of The Voice as well, so completely changed, as well. However, it was just something that I was really called to do. I also auditioned for this show called Pop Stars, which was an all girl group at the time, and so there was just I love that was a part of me that really wanted to express. And as I continued on going through my own journey, there came a point where this version of me was not quite fitting in with the version I started to see myself becoming, because I was at the time getting into personal development. I was working in corporate in the financial industry, and I took a class that our corporation was offering, um, all about the 7 habits of highly effective people.
Old school. Oh my God.
Old school. This is why, I mean, it was, and you know what? Those classics, like I mean, I studied under Bob Proctor, who like Think and Grow Rich is his main book. Like I mean, up until the day he died, he read Think and Grow Rich every single day. And so like these classics, they stand the test of time. And I really realized there was a portion of that class where we had to write a mission statement. And I looked at the life that I was living and this life that I wanted to step into, and they were completely different. And I wasn't
Right.
even in to the spiritual stuff just yet, but I started to like awaken to these ideas that I got to decide certain things. I got to choose my reality, so to speak. And that was completely new to me at that time. And so that is kind of what started that journey of like, okay, there's something else here that I'm excited about that I want to venture into. And that's like where it really, like if I really look back at it, it was that personal development journey and that class that totally changed my world.
That's hilarious because I remember back in the day, we didn't take 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We took remember the Daytimer course where it was
Yes.
like A's
I
and
took that
B's?
one too.
Yeah, A's and B's and cycling thoughts. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that's
The day
old school,
planner.
man. Yes. I had the big one with the
Yes.
zipper. Because I was in finance too.
Oh, that is
You
crazy.
need a big day planner when you're in finance.
Yes, you do.
Oh God. It's flashbacks. I'm having flashbacks. No, actually, I talk about my corporate life all the time. I was on your podcast too.
You were.
And people should
Yeah.
go listen to that. Tell us where that one is.
Yeah, it's called the Cosmic Mystic Podcast. It is on Spotify and all your favorite platforms, YouTube as well. So you can go check it out at thepeaceteacher.com/podcast. It'll take you right to it.
And it's a super fun podcast. So after you're done listening to this episode and you like it and share it with all your friends, then you should go over to the Cosmic Mystic, right? And do the same thing.
Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
do the same thing. Yeah.
And it is interesting because I think part of what it is it demonstrates no matter where you are in your life and what trajectory you might have thought that you were going to take, there's nothing wrong with changing it. Because I know so many people but I'm this, and they're so tied up in that identity, they can't imagine changing it. But we are 2 perfect examples and 2 of many, many, many examples. And my listeners know, like I always ask people, how did you do this? And their stories of the flip. It's like, look how many people I've talked to that they've changed their life. So yours was the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which I love. I'm going to write a blog or something about that. But and then you went into like, wow, there's way more to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you went, Bob Proctor, just like, kudos to you. I never met him IRL, but you know, I'll meet him in the spiritual world. I'll just ask my record keepers to call him up for me.
Yes,
No
please.
question, right?
I'd like to visit him, please.
I know. I would like to talk to. Well, one day I had my records open because we're talking. So, Friends, Akashic Records. If you can't remember what they are, because I've talked to a couple of Akashic Records readers, you can scroll back or Google it. It's the energetic library of everything you. One day I was talking to my record keepers and I was asking a question, and this tone of voice was coming through. And I was listening to this and writing it down. I'm like, is this Abraham? Because it was just, and they said,
Wow.
yeah, can't fool you. It was Abraham popped in to say hi. I'm like, yeah, the tone and the way they were talking. I'm like, this is a very familiar tone.
So different. I
So
love
when
that.
you're doing work now,
Yeah.
so you're like, you've got a lot going on. Where do you find you fall? Like, what do you draw on the most? Do you find, or just riff on whatever sounds come to see you?
Yeah. So it's interesting because I went from this stage of like, you know, mindset and religion and that being a very strong place in my life to this person that works with astrology and you know works with the guides of the Akashic records and like really diving in. There was a completely two different worlds, right? And
Especially
so
if you were singing in the church.
oh, goodness gracious. Like I sang at weddings, at funerals, at baptisms, like the whole 9 yards. And I probably did about 3 masses a weekend. So
Oh my
I was
gosh.
very, very, and I was part of the youth group. Like I mentored the teens in the youth group. So I was very much involved in that. I have like a heart of service. Like I've always wanted to help people and support people and, you know, whatever their journeys were, like I always wanted to be that person to support people. I even went to college to get a degree to become a teacher. Like I wanted to really help youth is really interesting. And, you know, as things changed and I ended up getting my degree in psychology and I just love the way people think and the way they do things and navigate. I think that's why, Heather, when you were on my podcast, it's like, tell me about your journey into this. Like,
right.
Because I just love the stories of how people evolve and work through things. And so, for me, astrology became the prominent thing that I used because it helped me understand myself. So when I was first dating my love, who was spiritual and I was religious, which I didn't even know what that meant. Like he was like, I'm spiritual. And I was like, well, I'm religious. So
Isn't that
I
the same
guess
thing?
yeah, I didn't understand it. He was like, well, I don't do that church thing. And I'm like, cool. Like I didn't understand it. But it was, he started to awaken some things within me that, I had been questioning a lot and I wasn't sure of, and to just kind of open me up to this new perspective. But he told me one day, we're sitting in the car, he had drove me home, and we're sitting in the car and we're talking, and he's like, so what's your moon sign? I was like, moon sign? Like, what's that? Like, I know I'm a Taurus. Like, well, at the time I was like, I know I'm a Gemini because I thought I was a Gemini. I was like, I know I'm a Gemini. And he's like, no, your moon sign. And I was like, what's a moon sign? Like, I don't know what that is. And he was like, and then he's like, he reads a lot and he's into ancient civilizations and ideas. And so he's like, these ancient civilizations really, they thought that the moon was actually more important than the sun sign. And I was like, okay, so how do I figure out what my moon sign is? And he's like, well, you like pull up your chart. You can go to these websites. And I was like, okay. He's like, but you need your time of birth and, all of that. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that is. Let me find my birth certificate. So I had to go and find my birth certificate. I found it. And I typed it in. I remember I was like on a computer and I was like typing it in and it popped up and I was like, I don't know what any of this means. Like,
did you get the big circle with all the lines and you're like, what the heck is this thing?
was like, is this hieroglyphs? Like, what is this? Like, I did not know what it meant. And so then I was like Googling, like, what's this? What's this? And like trying to figure things out. And so then I finally figured out, because the little moon, it looks like a moon, right? It's like a crescent moon. And so I saw that. And then I was like, I don't know what this symbol is. And so I figured it out. And I found out that I was a Cancer moon.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, okay. What does that mean? Like, I don't know. And I knew nothing about astrology. I knew that you put your birth date in and then you could see who the best person was for you or get your horoscope. I had no idea that there was more to it. And
Oh
so
my gosh. You could
I
study
read
years,
that.
right?
Oh my goodness. Like it, like Heather, when I tell you that I was reading about myself as I read that, and I figured out why I enjoyed certain things and why I was drawn to certain things and why the tears would just come, even if I was just watching a stupid commercial.
I remember talking to you on your podcast. I was like, are you okay? It's like, people don't usually cry on podcasts. What do I do?
That was huge for me to understand, like, that was natural, and that was the way I processed emotions, and that I was very comfortable with emotion, when for so long I had kind of been told, like, stop having emotion. And so here
Stop
I was
crying. Right?
I'll give you something to cry about, right? Like, I heard that. So that,
I've heard that.
He's like, no. Yeah. I mean, but that's, it's what our parents knew. It was their background. And I don't blame my father for that. It's just something that he wasn't comfortable with and he didn't understand, and something I had to go through and to get to that point to really understand it. So I mean, from that standpoint, astrology has been, and it cannot be, even if I don't outwardly say something about astrology, I am still looking at astrology, incorporating astrology into everything that I do.
Do you ever look at human design?
Yes, I'm a big fan.
So the first time I found out my human design and I was reading it, I went, oh my God.
Yep.
I finally understand. It was actually a relief for me, because I went,
yes.
Oh, thank goodness. I get it. I actually just looked at my moon sign because I've never actually thought about it before. My moon is in Aquarius.
Oh, I love that. That makes sense why you said what you just said right now when you were like, emotion.
I'm also, my sun is Sagittarius. My moon is Aquarius. I'm like, dun, dun, dun. That's Heather. Yeah.
What's your human design?
Projector.
Me too.
Right? And when you're trying it, so we're both out here trying to help people, right?
Yes.
And if people can't remember what human design is, go back to the episode on human design or Google it, or send me a message, because I've got an app on my phone and I look up everybody I know, what their human design is. It's called human design. But yeah, so we're out here, we're like speaking, we're sharing, we have this innate wisdom in us, and we're connected somehow to something that helps us understand what's going on. And this is how we're very similar. Like, people are fascinating. People are so interesting. I just want to hear all of the things. But as projectors, it's like you can lead a horse to water, but they can't see the stream. So,
no.
Yeah, we can help you, but only if you're open to hear what we say. And don't pretend you're open to it. You actually have to be open to hear what we say. Otherwise, you can't hear it, even though no matter how hard we try. So we can sometimes seem like we're a bit crazy, but that's okay. I think manifestors are crazy. So
yeah, I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that. What's interesting to me was the part about projectors is like, okay, like when I read it, I'm agreeing with you. Like 100%, I was like, wow, like this makes so much sense on like that idea of waiting for the invitation, that you have this knowledge, like all of that was like, whoa, okay, that makes sense. That my time is different. Like I have to really conserve my energy, that I'm not meant to be in this like crazy schedule. Like all of that made like a lot of sense. But it wasn't until I really explored the not self and that idea of bitterness
Right.
that I was like, oh, so with a projector, right? Like when we don't feel appreciated for the knowledge, which is to what Heather said of if you don't take our advice, if you're not ready to hear our advice, like we can get really bitter about that because like it's almost as if, like for me at least, it's like I have the answer. Like, I can tell you.
Did you do the Karen Curry Parker not self exercise? Self, not self?
No, I
Well,
have not.
Karen Curry
Okay.
Parker, who has written
Okay.
several books on human design, has a self, not self exercise
Ooh.
for all aspects of human design. I mean, obviously, she's going to talk about all of them, but it is interesting. And it's like, you can say, oh, it's all made up. You can say astrology is made up. You can say human design is made up.
Yep.
I don't, and it doesn't matter to me either way. But I feel like if you find a way to understand yourself and the things that frustrate you or the things that trip you up in life, and it helps you find a way to navigate them in a good way, then I don't care if who made them up. I mean, it's like, I don't care who invented. Actually, my friend made this mug. I love
Oh.
Fiona. She made this mug. So I do care about who made this mug. I don't care who invented mugs. I'm just happy that they did and that they hold tea. It's like,
Yes, thank you.
because they make me happy. I want to talk about, I'm looking down at my notes so I don't forget, your sacred CEO. And I
Yeah.
feel like I may be like, you just told me the name of it. I have no idea what it's actually,
Yeah.
involves, but I feel like part of my mission, and probably yours, is to help people take ownership of their life. And I feel like that's what that program is. Am
Hmm.
I just channeling the divine? What is, or am I making it up?
Ding, 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 ding. Yes, you are definitely spot on there. So when I started, I've been in business for about 8 years now, a little over 8 years. And one of the things that I didn't know for a long time about my own self was I use this metaphor as God, I had to be like 32 when I realized that I was sitting in the back seat of my own life, taking in the view. And then I started to awaken to certain things. And I stepped into the front seat, not the driver's seat. I was still in the passenger seat, like exploring things and like kind of directing things here and there as you do as a co-pilot, right? But it wasn't until I actually stepped into the driver's seat of my life that was like, oh, wow, like this is a whole other world. And that is when I started, like, I really dove into a lot of personal development. I started working with Bob Proctor and realizing that I could create my own reality. And that was like a thing that I'm in the driver's seat now. And I'm like, why isn't everybody in the driver's seat? Like, wake up, people. Like, we're like, get in the driver's seat, because I started to actually see people in the back seat of their life and just letting things happen. And I'm like, you could be in the drive, you could take control of this. And so I've been doing at least a lot of work with people in owning who they are. And the astrology piece, just as you and I both kind of talked about with human design, it was the same thing for me. Like, if I can help you understand and remember who you were before the world told you who you're supposed to be, that is what's key. And so a lot of what we do in Sacred CEO is helping you connect in with that inner guidance system, who you are at the soul level, like, and who you awaken again to be. Like, I don't believe that I'm becoming a new person. I believe that I am awakening the parts of me that got turned off, so to speak, or I'm disconnected from, and we're going to wake that up. So I love to work with spiritual entrepreneurs, and it took me a long time to really own that and accept that, because I was like, I'm just helping people with their lives. I'm just helping them step into the driver's seat. But when you step into the driver's seat of your life, you also get to step into the mission fully and completely. And the people that I love to work with are those that do have that mission, that see their purpose, even though it may not always be clear on how it's executed, but they know they have that mission and they want to deliver that. And so I really help them step into that more and build a life and business, because they go hand in hand. They are not separate. Anybody that is watching this that has a business, you understand when life is lifing, it's affecting the business. And when business is businessing, life is affected. And so I wanted to create a program that involved strategy and soul. So we're working with strategies, not only in business, but also in life, that are yours, that are unique to you, and that help you navigate this world. And then a business where we need the healing, because you all know, especially if you've been on this journey in entrepreneurship, that entrepreneurship is your biggest healing journey ever.
Yes, definitely.
Ever. Like, you learn so much about yourself, right, when you step into that idea. So that I wanted to create a place that really combined both. And
Well, it's
that's
funny because entrepreneurs are stepping into a driver's seat. And if they
Yep.
haven't stepped into the driver's seat, then they're still operating from this old way of being. And I think about how most of us, like some people I find are like remembered that mindset of nobody can tell me what to do. I'm
Yeah.
going to go and go. And then, but the way that we came through our growing up, our family, our schooling, our experiences, like you said, it's almost like that I know what I'm supposed to do part is like, oh, everybody has told you that's not the thing. That's not right. You don't get to decide. You have to ask permission. So I'm always giving people permission slips. Here, you have permission. You have permission. You have permission to go out and be who you were supposed to be when you got here. And I think about a friend of mine who she always wanted to be a rock singer, but she didn't become a rock singer. She became a whole bunch of other things until I think she was 50. And she said she sold her business. She was a real estate agent, of all things. She sold her business and went to Germany and became a rock singer. It's just like, darn it, I'm going to go be a rock singer. And she's never been happier. Right? So she needed to step up and say, this is my life. I get to choose. And she even says, I'm not like anyone in my family. So of course I didn't think it was right for me to go and want to be a rock singer. Imagine if your family had said, you don't get to be a singer. You have to go become a accountant.
Well, I'll say this, they actually did. I mean,
Right.
Legit, like I was 18 years old. I had, graduated high school and I was starting college, and performing was really important to me. I loved it. I had danced professionally, competed, pretty much all of my younger years. That at 18, I auditioned to actually perform on cruises, to be the entertainment on cruises.
Cool.
18 years old, Heather. Think about that, on a cruise ship, traveling the world. And my mom was like, nope. Nope. And so like and at the time I was in the back seat, so I didn't realize that I was 18 and that I could make that decision on my own.
I'm the boss of me and I can go.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like, okay. And then, I think I knew it, but then there was also that feeling of like, I didn't want to leave my family. I didn't want to leave my mom. And, all of that kind of came
And you
into
don't
it
want to
as
make your
well.
parents upset because
Nope.
blah, blah, blah.
None of that. So yeah, I didn't go. So that like even when I was in high school, like I wanted to audition for the School of Arts and go and actually like pursue like this entertainment performing type role. And my dad happened to work on the campus where this high school was. It was on a college campus, and my dad worked for the college. And so he would see those kids and he would talk about how those kids were crazy because they were so artistic that when I wanted to audition, he was like, no way you're going to be hanging out with those kids.
You're not going to be one of those kids.
None of those kids. We don't want that. So like I didn't pursue any of that because of their own limitations in their own, mind of what they thought was right or wrong. So much to the point that I went in to be a teacher into college when I really wanted to do performance, right? But I went to school to be a teacher because you could fall back on teaching if this music thing or performing thing doesn't work out for you. Like it was still like this idea of like, that's not where you're going. You've got to go this route, which is, it was the decision that was made then. There was a decision for a reason. I got into the financial world and loved it and learned a lot and grew through that quite a bit. And I don't know, we think about these things like, if I wouldn't have done this, would this have happened? Right. Like I probably would have some point got to this place because I think my soul was bound to get here at some point. But would I have had the experiences to be able to do the work that I do now and be able to relate to people in the way that I can because I've been through these different experiences?
And I find it interesting, so I spent 15 years in the financial world, right, as a CPA, and we don't know. People will say, was that a waste of time? I'm like, I don't think so. I think that I got tons of experience from it. So sometimes we don't know what the root is. And I don't think we're supposed to know. We're supposed to just kind of like go and try our best to follow the direction set in front of us. And who knows, maybe I was supposed to be an accountant for 15 years so that I would have that kind of piece of me that, because I always joke that I can talk to vice presidents and yoga teachers.
Yes.
Because they are two different animals and their brains work in two different ways.
Yeah.
And I can straddle both sides of that conversation. But it's so interesting that it's like, no, I don't regret it. And there was tons of learning from it. And I've been doing, you made a comment, was I supposed to do something else? So do you know Bert Goldman? He does quantum jumps. So it's like I've been everything in every life. So I've been popping over into my other life to say, hey, if I had done that, what would I be doing right now? Okay, thanks. So
exactly.
Right? Just a little quantum jumping. You don't have to live that life unless there's something about your life you want to change.
Right. You want to jump on that timeline.
And I had this thought about, we have this, I can remember when I first started, you always create your own reality. And people go, well, how come I don't have the $1 million that I've been trying to create? I was like, that's not what we mean. So when people ask you that question, what do you usually say to them?
That's a great question. So if you think about this, right, like we are always creating our reality, whether it's the same kind of a concept of like you are always manifesting. There, like people are like, I want to manifest this, or I want to create this, or I want to do this. Like you are already doing it. The difference is, are you directing it? Are you conscious of it? Consciously creating the reality, consciously manifesting the thing that you want to manifest? That to me is the bigger question. It's not, when am I going to do this, or how come I'm not doing this? It's like, you are already doing it. What are you creating now, and how do we shift that so that you can create the thing that you actually do want, right? Because you and I both know there's limitations, there's belief systems, there's paradigms that they're caught in, loops that they're caught in, whether for, I would
even
say
that I'm caught, like even that I'm caught in, probably you're caught in.
I'm caught in. Right.
And because we are living in 3D bodies and we're having human experiences. And sometimes when I try to explain it, I'm like, so what are you, when you go to something, like when you think about something, what are you looking for? So if you are, let's say, I'm going to go find a parking space. Oh, I'm not going to find a parking space. Well, then
Right.
you just manifested no parking spaces, right?
100%.
And if you say, oh, I always get a parking space, you're going to get a parking space most of the
Yep.
time. Right.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
like, that's even that simple. That's how you're creating your reality. What are you expecting to find? That's what you're going to find. Right. That's what you're going
Yeah.
to create.
The lens that you're filtering whatever that thing is through, right? The belief
Yeah.
systems that you have, that's everything. That is what creates our world, right?
Yeah.
Exactly what we mean by creating your reality. It's the filters, the perspectives that you have. If you think it's going to be a bad day, then it's going to be a bad day. If you think it's going to be a great day, then it's going to be a great day. I love to experiment. So I have a practice of scripting first thing in the morning. Something I learned with Bob Proctor very early on is like scripting your day. And so I write it from the place of, because he's very famous for, I'm so happy and grateful that, right? And so I write it from the place of, I'm at the end of the day, I'm in my bed and I'm about to go to bed, and I am writing what my day has been about, like all the things that has happened. And I will write in there things like, I went to the grocery store and I saw all these smiley faces. Like the other day I was traveling to Orlando. And so I went through the airport, and, people complain about the
Oh,
airport,
yes.
a lot of complaints about that. And I have, up to this point, even though I did get taken aside in one of these occasions, I have never had a bad experience. Why? Because I state that in the very beginning, that I'm going to meet the people who are happy, excited about life, who are enthusiastic as I go through this adventure of getting on the plane and getting to my destination. And I can kid you not, like, I again and again and again meet the most um beautiful faces. Like, they're just smiling, they're happy, where other people will say that, oh, the TSA agents are horrible and they're
Right.
mean, and they're like, no, I always encounter the best people because I've said that that's what I want, and I see that in these people as I'm walking through.
Right. You can make even those small changes that, like, people want to manifest giant things like, vacation homes and things, but just manifest happiness and the rest will come, right?
Yes.
You just let
Yes.
it all float. This is like your train. You can't bench press 100 pounds until you can bench press 10. So,
Yes.
right?
Got to
Don't
start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere. Amazing. So the Sacred CEO program, is that an ongoing thing? Do they join anytime? Does it have enrollment? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, it is open enrollment. So it's a year-long program. So you can join us at any time. We onboard, like, we start with a roadmap call that is a sacred roadmap call. So we'll look at, like, your astrology and your strengths and your challenges, what's affecting you. We'll look at your business and look at what the current season is in your business and set up some strategies for you for that current season and where you're headed. So it's really getting into not only honoring who you are in your sacred rhythm and what works best for you, because we all have a rhythm, right? And getting rid of the things that people told you you're supposed to be doing in business, but actually doing the things that are right for your energy and your system. And what's gonna, in the scheme of things, not everybody wants to build $1 million business. There's people right now currently in Sacred CEO that they just want to be able to spend time with their kids and, make money to be able to pay their bills and be able to travel freely with their kids when they want to. Like, they're not looking to make thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They just want to make enough to, supplement the income that they used to have when they were in the corporate world,
Right.
things like that, versus people who are like, no, I want to build $1 million business. Like, okay, well, then there's different strategies and different approaches that we're
Right.
going to take. And so we get to do all of that inside Sacred CEO. I love it. It's my favorite place to hang out. I have attracted the most beautiful souls in there. And
Of course you have,
that
because you said
resonates.
only beautiful souls are coming into the Sacred CEO,
100%.
right?
So it
And
is.
where is your website for people to find you?
Yeah, you can go to thepeaceteacher.com. Thepeaceteacher.com is where everything is. And my favorite place to hang out. So if you're a social media person, my favorite place to hang out is actually on Instagram. I love, love, love Instagram. So you can come hang out with me over there. I'm usually sharing some craziness in my stories for sure.
Cool. I know stories. I spend too much time down the rabbit hole of stories. A lot of kittens go by my stories. Although I did see that little dog in the background, super cute dog walking around for people who saw the video.
I'm sure. Yeah. He loves to hang out with me. My
So,
pug Jake. That's handsome Jake back there.
Jake, love you, handsome Jake. Oh my goodness, Danie. I spelled your name wrong, Danie? I just saw that. I'm sorry. Oh my God, why didn't you tell me? Oh, yeah. Friends, don't look at the thing underneath her. If you're looking at the video. I have the right number of E's. It's just in the wrong spot.
I was going to say, you have all the correct letters. They're just in the wrong spot.
Oh
That's
my
all.
goodness. Okay, I will beg forgiveness and I will give you the last word of wisdom.
Step into the driver's seat of your life.
Oh my
The
God,
view's
that's
great.
perfect. Yes, do it. Do it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll spell it right when I launch it out into the world. Thank you, Danie.
Okay. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, friends in podcast land. If you want to get into the driver's seat of your life, hook up with Danie, thepeaceteacher.com. Do it. I will see you guys next time. Take care. Hello, my friend. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you found it useful and you're like me and you want to help others, please share this, comment, like, subscribe, all of those things that will help this podcast to be found by more people. And if you found it useful, there's a chance that someone else will find it useful as well. If you ever have any questions, I am here to answer your questions. I would love to help you. My direct email address is info@heatherstewart.coach. You can also find me at heatherstewart.coach. And if you go over to my website, you will find copies of the podcast. You'll find the link to my Instagram and my Facebook. And I do have a personal request because I do want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. So if you could give me a review, and my friend, I would love if you gave me a good one. If you could share this, if you could send it out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope that you have an amazing day. I hope that you are finding your way back to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend. Be well, and we will see you again next time.